The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Ray Hinton, Chapter 5, Premeditated Guilt. When I stepped out of the car at the police station in Bessemer, I saw nothing but flashes of bright light. I ducked my head down and tried to keep my eyes closed because the light and the noise and the shouting was disorientating and confusing. I don't know who called the press or what they had been told, but I had watched enough television to know this was a perp walk, and I was the perp. I was annoyed at this point, and someone I was annoyed at this point, or somewhere between annoyed and angry. How embarrassing, I thought. For me and the police, when they had to tell the press they made a mistake. They brought me into a room at the police station, and three more officers, Vassar and Miller and Acker, were waiting, along with a man who didn't say anything, but who I found out later was David Barber, the district attorney of Birmingham. They read me my rights again. Acker put a blank piece of paper in front of me and asked me to sign it. What's this? Just sign it. We're going to type up your Miranda rights on it so everybody knows you're reading your rights. You know what? I'm an honest person, so if anyone asks me, whether it's a judge or another police officer or anyone, I will tell them you read me my rights. The detective put the pen on top of the paper. We're going to take the cuffs off of you, then you can sign the paper and have a drink, and we'll get all this sorted out real quick. I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, but I wasn't a fool. There's no way I was going to sign a blank piece of paper. I looked up at the men around me. They all looked happy, excited, maybe even a little jumpy. Like you do when you have a big secret you are just dying to tell. In that moment, I felt the real twinge of fear. Why did they want me to sign a blank piece of paper? This wasn't right. None of this was right. I'm not going to sign that paper, I said it firmly. I saw them all look at each other. One of the other detectives picked up the paper. I really didn't know who was who. They started firing questions at me. Where were you on the night of February 23rd? I don't know that. How am I supposed to know that? What about the night of July 2nd? Where were you on the night of July 2nd? I thought about it a bit. I had gone to Atlanta on the night of the 3rd with Sylvia to drop off my nieces. For the life of me, I couldn't remember what I had done the night before. I was probably home on the 2nd. I don't remember doing anything else. I was probably home in February too. I don't go out much, I said. I was probably home on the 2nd. I don't remember doing anything else. I was probably home in February too. I don't go out much, I said. I would have been home with my mom those nights. Can you prove it? The detective said quietly, and I felt a shiver go up my spine. I can't prove it, man. Could you tell me where you were on some random day in February? Seriously? I'm not the one under arrest here. Well, I shouldn't be under arrest either. I haven't done nothing wrong. Whatever this is, you guys got the wrong guy. I folded my arms up around my chest. I'm trying to look cool and calm, but I could feel my heart pounding against my folded arm. Where were you on the night of July 25th? I thought about it hard. I should be able to account for a week ago. I started walking backward through my week, and then it hit me. I absolutely knew where I was on the 25th. I was at a friend's house a couple of miles away from my place. This was on Thursday, right? One of the detectives wrote something down in a notebook. What is the name of the friend? I gave them her name. What time were you at her house? I thought back to that night. I had dinner with my mom and then went by my friends. I got there at 8 p.m. or so. I left about 11:15. And where were you after 11:15? I drove to my job out in Inslee and I was at work all night. I worked the night shift, midnight to 8 a.m. Bruno's warehouse. Although sometimes we get off earlier if we finish the work, I think I got off around 6 a.m. that day. That would be the 26th. There was nothing but silence after that. They put me behind bars. That's when I realized I was going to be spending the night. It's not easy to get comfortable when the bunks aren't meant to fit a big man. So after a sleepless night, they transported me to the county jail in Birmingham. Lieutenant Acker rode with me. What am I under arrest for exactly? The other guy said robbery. Who did I rob? You know, you want to know why you're under arrest? Yes, I do. You're under the arrest for first degree kidnapping, first degree robbery, first degree attempted murder. Man, you got the wrong person. Man, we're not even close to done with you. There's going to be more charges. Acker turned around and looked me in the eye for the first time since I had told him I was work on the 25th. You know, I don't care whether you did it or not. In fact, I believe you didn't do it, but it doesn't matter. If you didn't do it, one of your brothers did, and you're going to take the rap for it. You want to know why? I just shook my head. I can give you 5 reasons why they're going to convict you. You want to know what they are? I shook my head no, but he continued. Number 1, you're black. Number 2, a white man gonna say you shot him. Number 3, you're gonna have a white district attorney. Number 4, you're gonna have a white judge. And number 5, you're gonna have an all-white jury. He paused and smiled at me then. You know what that spell? I shook my head, but I knew what he was saying. You couldn't be raised in the South and not know what he was saying. My whole body went numb, like I was under an ice-cold shower in the middle of winter. Conviction, 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 conviction. He pointed to each finger on his left hand, and then he held up the number 5 and turned his palm towards me. I leaned my head up against the seat and closed my eyes. Since the age of 4, I could remember my mom teaching me all of us kids to respect authority. She respected authority almost blindly so. Tell the truth, she always said, and you've got nothing to fear. Even when I had gotten in trouble before, she told me, even if it hurts you, you tell the truth. What's done in the dark will always come to light. In my mom's words, there was no gray area, but the police were who you ran to when you were in trouble. You never ran from them. They were always right there to help. That's why I let them search my car and my room. That's why I told them my mom had a gun when they asked me earlier. You told the truth. The police were there to help you. There was nothing to be afraid of. I remember her sitting me down after graduation. Listen, there are going to be people that dislike you just because of the color of your skin. Some going to dislike you because you're black. Some people going to dislike you because you're light skinned. You're going to have people dislike you because of whatever reason they find to dislike you. This is how the world is. You have to be knowing that you are responsible for how you treat others. You're not responsible for how they treat you. Do you understand? I don't care what people say about you. You don't drop down to their level. You always treat someone better than what they treat you. Always. The thought of her home alone, she must be scared. I hadn't been offered a phone call. Hopefully the neighbors were with her. I knew Phoebe, Lester's mom, would be at my mom's side just as soon as she could. Lester should be out of the mines by now. I wondered if he had heard. He would make sure my mom was okay, just like I would have done for his mom. That was the only thought that brought me some comfort. This would get cleared up. First-degree robbery and attempted murder and kidnapping? Hell, I felt like I was the one being kidnapped. They would see I was at work. Talk to my friend. I didn't know about those other nights. I couldn't remember, but I had to believe that they would believe me. I hadn't done anything wrong, and the more I cooperated and helped them investigate whatever this was, the sooner I would go home. I didn't care what Akra said. No one was going to convict me for something I didn't do. I was innocent, and it would get sorted out in the morning. The press was out front of the Birmingham jail as well, and they paraded me around and inside. I was read my rights again and processed into the jail with fingerprints and my mug shots. I was told that they were going to charge me with murder. 2 murders. They had evidence, they said. The gun at my house matched the bullets. They found the murder weapon. Someone saw me. It was over. I should confess. None of it made sense. I refused to speak. I just wanted a moment to clear my head and sort this out in my mind. I needed to talk to my mom. I was given green and white striped scrubs to change into, and it was all a blur until they took me up to the 7th floor C block. I was given a thin 1-inch mattress, a plastic razor, a plastic mug, a toothbrush, and my very own roll of toilet paper. I set my stuff down on my bunk, and all I wanted to do was lie down and sleep for the rest of the week. Stand outside of your cell with your back against the wall. I lined up with everyone else and watched as the guards did roll call. I counted the names in my head as they yelled them out. There were 24 of us together. I looked around. Most of them were black, some were white. When the guard was done, I turned to go back into my cell. Hinton. I turned around toward the guard. You can't go back in your cell until the day's over. Everyone has to be in the common area. The common area had metal seats and tables bolted to the floor, and all of them were arranged so that they faced a small television mounted to the wall. I just wanted to call my mom and Lester and see if they would straighten out this mess somehow. And then I wanted to close my eyes and sleep and wake up at home in my own bed and have the last 24 hours be some sort of bad dream. I sat down on one of the cold, rounded seats and nodded at the white guy who sat down across from me. He had bright red hair, and he gave me a big smile that looked half friendly and half serial killer clown. Welcome to C Block, he said. It's where all the capital murder kids come to play.